Good evening. How is everybody doing tonight? I'm right on time. Hello, hello. It is Friday. How do you guys feel about it being Friday? Super happy. Hey, Della, how are you? Are you happy it's Friday? Hey, Dark Lily, how are you doing? I hope you guys had a good week. I am super happy it's the weekend. Fridays are always good, retired or not. Yeah, I think it's just something about knowing it's the weekend. And even if you are retired, there's more of an opportunity. Other people will be available who maybe aren't retired yet. Once you're off work. Yeah, I remember the days where the weekends, like Saturday and Sunday, weren't necessarily my weekends in other jobs that I've had. Sorry, I have an itch. I definitely remember always looking forward to my weekend, even if it was during the week, like the typical work week. Those 2 days off were always nice. 6 days a week. That's tough. Hey, Mila, how are you? In some of the work I've had, it was some days, some weeks where you didn't get any real weekends. Sometimes you worked like 7 days in a week. You were always on call. Hey, Pat, how are you? I'm glad you had an amazing day. My day wasn't too bad. It was a Friday. Can't complain there. He works 7 on and 7 off. Yeah, there's some careers that do that, and there's some like most EMTs or firefighters, they work a shift, maybe not 7 days, but they typically work shifts like that, like 24 on, 24 off, that kind of thing. I don't know if I could work 7 days in a row and then be off 7 days in a row. I'm the kind of person who works because I have to be doing something, or else I get too bored and then I become lazy and complacent because I don't have to do stuff, if that makes sense. Hey, Susie Q, how are you? He's a lab tech. I'm not, I don't think I could do lab work. I'm not super into like hands-on research. I like statistical research, and I know that hands-on research can result in that, but I don't want to be the one conducting the tests and stuff like that. It's almost too much pressure, personally. It would be hard to like refocus myself to get back to work. Yes, it is Friday. I was saying that. Super happy it's Friday. I'm doing a lot better. So I appreciate you guys who have asked and who have checked on me. You know, it's just a trying time. It will pass. Grieving is a process. So, I'm working through it. I hope my mood is a little bit better today. I have felt a little bit better. We did get his ashes today. So I think that has helped me kind of move on with the process. We have his remains now, and we have placed them next to our other dog that we have his ashes as well. So I think that's kind of helped me come out of it a little bit. So it's been a while. I know I've kind of come on live over the last week and a half or so, and chatted with you guys here and there and kept it pretty lighthearted and didn't talk about any commentary really or anything like that. And today I figured would be, since I'm in a better mind space and, you know, I have still been kind of keeping up with things. Certain topics I've kept up with more than others, but since I have been keeping up with things, it's time to get back into the typical routine, the content you guys want to talk about, the content you guys enjoy me talking about. And that's kind of like commentary on what's been going on in the YouTube sphere. So I had listed in my community post, not that everybody saw it, and that's fine, but I had listed a couple of topics that I felt could be topics of conversation. We can talk about Karen, Katie Joy. Obviously, there's always stuff to talk about with her and how she's handling things. I have some opinions and stuff like that about the Sophie updates that have been coming out over the last week and a half. There's been stuff with James Charles and Jeffree Star that I've kept up with. Is there any topic in particular you guys want to talk about or start off with? Anything I didn't mention that you guys want to talk about? If I know anything about it, like I'll be fine to talk about and give my opinion on. Yeah, Mila, are you talking about Katie? I'm assuming you're talking about Katie. I don't mind talking about her, but we all know once you start talking about her, it kind of ends up being the dominant topic of the conversation, which I'm fine with talking about. If anybody wants to hear my opinion or talk about any of the other stuff, I want to talk about those, which would not take as much time, if that makes sense. What are you talking about, Della? Does anybody know what Della is referring to? What's going on? I haven't seen his video. I know he posted one where it seems it was a bad day, but I just got off work and took off my day makeup and put on my makeup for this because it had all worn off. Can somebody fill me in? How so, Della? How is he making fun of that sentence doesn't even make sense, that somebody is making fun of somebody else for using mental illness to get views. I am a hardcore Sloan fan and supporter, and I have never seen him use his mental health to get views. Has he talked about his mental health? Yeah, he has. But we all struggle with mental health. Hasn't BX Beast Boy himself referred to having mental health before? Or am I misunderstanding what's being talked about? I need more information. Is this happening currently, or did this happen today? He had a mini breakdown today. I don't think it was about views at all. I think he just didn't know. Sloan has been going through so much lately. Hey, Debbie, I'm good. How are you? So are we talking about, I want to make sure I'm referencing the right video here. Are we talking about the video Sloan loaded where the thumbnail is him obviously upset and crying? Because that was a premiere. So I don't know if that was recorded today or if it was recorded a different day and he loaded it today. Not that that would matter, but I just want to make sure I'm thinking of the correct video. I have not seen it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I haven't seen it yet. I just got off work like an hour and a half ago. So I typically watch YouTube once I'm home. Sometimes I will listen to channels in the background, but today was a busy day and I didn't have that opportunity. It's about the video. Okay, so it is about that video. Does he talk about struggling? Is that where the root of this is coming from? Well, we all know that I know how it feels to have a sick dog. And Sloane's so sensitive that, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's very obvious he is in tune with his emotions. And he always is open with his, that's why people love him and find him so genuine, is the fact that he doesn't hide his actual feelings with people. Oh. He's marking the thumbnail. What do you mean he's marking it? You think it was a recording over a couple of days? I'm not sure. I mean, I've talked to Sloan before. I definitely am going to reach out to him. I reached out to him when I saw him premiere something about concerns with his dog, because I literally had just put my dog to sleep. And I feel for anybody whose dog is ill or who is struggling. To me, animals, like pets, are just like children, especially for like myself who don't have children yet. They are my place fillers for children. I treat them like almost like people. So, and I know there's a lot of people, and I'm sure a lot of you guys treat your dogs that way, or your cats. I don't have cats personally. It's why I typically just automatically revert to the word dog, but I don't mean to exclude cat parents or bird parents. I've had almost every kind of animal you can, not farm animal, but like house pet, I've had throughout my life. It's happening on Beast Boys Live right now. Okay. Well, I have no way to watch Beast Boys Live while we're doing this, and that's not something I'm interested in for content. It's something I'll look into. That stinks, but I don't fully want to provide any kind of commentary on that without knowing the situation, if that makes sense. You listen to YouTube almost every day, all day. Yeah, I think there's a lot of us like that. When I'm not with clients or people, like working with people in the moment, I will have YouTube on in the background when I'm doing like paperwork and stuff like that. My job, I am often face to face with people in the community. So if today was a day like that, so I didn't have the ability to have my YouTube favorites playing on in my headphones. He had a bad day. That stinks. He thinks Sloan is using his own mental illness to profit. I mean, I don't know if Sloan's the one to really criticize for that. Again, I don't know the context, so I'm not trying to say one thing or another is happening, but Sloan's really genuine and honest with his audience. He's been doing YouTube for a long time. It's not like he's changed. You can tell over his content that he's grown up, but overall, he hasn't really changed. There are so many other problematic people who do utilize their mental health. Look at Tana Mojo, for example. I just don't understand. You're like that and you have kids still. Dark Lily. Yeah, there's a lot of people who feel that way about their pets. And I guess I say their pets can be like children placeholders for people who don't have children. It's just to maybe help people who don't feel that way about animals or their pets to understand, like some people, such as myself, like when I lose a pet, almost like I'm losing a part of, I am losing a part of my family. It's like I'm almost like I'm losing a child. Because animals really are just as much work, especially when they're younger and they're puppies, as children can be. Yeah, Mila said he's so sensitive and just wants so bad to help people. He does. You can tell he has a genuine heart. I'm not sure what's going on with his video. I didn't see it. Obviously, I saw the thumbnail. I want to watch it, but I hadn't had the opportunity to. I'm live, so I didn't know BXB Boy was live right now. And I don't know the context of what he's saying. I haven't ever found Della to be a liar. So I would imagine something is going on. I don't know if I just don't know enough to really talk about it now. It's something that maybe in a couple of days we can revisit if you want. That will totally be up to you guys. Anyways, so thank you, Della, for, I guess, letting us know that something was going on. I will look at Sloan's video and see how he's doing. Hey, Toad's Wild Ride, how are you? Did everyone stop typing? I think some people are probably trying to figure out what's going on, to be honest, Susie. I don't think they're not trying to engage. I think everybody's probably concerned about Sloan and maybe what's being said. That's what I will assume, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. So, does anybody have a topic they want to discuss or something that's gone on? Hey, Jen, sorry you're late. It's okay. It's not, yeah, thank goodness it's Friday for sure. We haven't really gotten into anything up to this point. There's some concerns about Sloan's video, but that's about it. He has calmed down. I'm glad he did. I hope you got my response. I tried to get back to you before I got on live. Mila, so I just have, it was from the community post. I don't have anything I want to talk about in order. Over the last week or two, whenever I've not done these kind of lives, I've been keeping up with the stuff with like Katie, what's been kind of going on with her. I've kept up with the updates of the Sophie case, so I have stuff I could talk about there. James Charles and his dramas, I've been kind of keeping up with that, as well as Jeffree Star. So I mean, there's other people too. Those are just the big ones that most people want me to talk about. So if you guys have a preference on anybody or anything or something I didn't mention and you want to see if I want to talk about it and provide my opinion on, and you know how we typically do these things, if you guys want my input and start a conversation, just let me know. Okay, okay, I'll check it whenever I get off. I try to not have my cell phone on me unless I need it. Yeah, Della, I know you didn't mean anything bad by mentioning what was going on, and that's fine. I'll definitely look and see what's going on once I get off of here. I just hadn't had an opportunity to watch his video, so I can't, without seeing their videos, I don't feel comfortable, especially currently, with talking about it. The last Sloan video I saw, he seemed kind of depressed. James Charles, he is oddly immature for a 21-year-old. Absolutely, Jen. Absolutely. Hey, Melanie, it's all good. We haven't really gotten into anything yet. Susie, Della, did you see what I said? I wasn't calling you immature. What? I'm not sure what you guys are. You might be having a side conversation. So, James Charles, Jen, you're the only one who's provided any kind of name or person to kind of talk about. So we'll start with him and then we'll see where it goes. So I'm sure we are all aware of who James Charles is. And Trisha Paytas and Jaclyn Hill hate heartstrings and shoelaces. How are you doing? Hey, Terry, how are you? You don't know a whole lot? Okay, we can talk about James Charles. The Trisha Paytas and Jaclyn Hill stuff, I'm not gonna lie, I just started kind of trying to figure out what's going on with them today. So I'm not gonna have a whole lot on that particular situation to talk about today. But I can, if you'd like, I can make sure I can gather my opinions and see what's going on and talk about it over the weekend when I go live this weekend. Oh, I totally missed that between you guys. So yes, Jen, his last rant was weird. So I'm sure you know, James Charles is a beauty guru, makeup dude. He got into social media at a really, really young age. He was wasn't he the first the first male who was featured on CoverGirls magazine? I believe I'm remembering that correctly. And he was a young teenager at the time. He was like 15 or 16, if I remember correctly. All of these ages and estimations are off of my memory, which isn't the best. So if I'm wrong, please correct me. But he got into that, and all of his fame really came from a viral photo where he had he had beautiful makeup done, really, really intense highlight. And this was when highlight was starting to become a thing. And he just went viral from there, and he took advantage of it. And which no shade to him, he took advantage of it and he ran with it. He started YouTube, he started Instagram, he built a huge fan base and following. And, over the years, he has continually been brought into some super problematic situations, some dealing with people underage and maybe some inappropriateness occurring. Of course, none of that has ever been, substantiated or founded. It always kind of seems that holes are poked into it. And, aside from that, he's kind of rubbed people the wrong way in the industry, it seems. Fellow creators are super weary to actually talk about him, but it's like in a negative light. But if you look for some of the smaller creators, they maybe not always have the best things to say. But more recently, what has happened was he went on Instagram and went on a little entitlement rant, in my opinion. He's got no connection to reality. Yeah. Let me catch up with the chat before I go on, just in case you guys are correcting me. They've been going back and forth. Yeah, I've heard that they're going back and forth. I saw a clip of Trisha Paytas's one of her Instagram things that Def Noodles had posted, and it was saying how the way Trisha Paytas made it seem, and I will verify so we can talk about this later over the weekend, is Trisha Paytas mentioned Jaclyn Hill in a video and was kind of shading her, and Jaclyn Hill didn't take too keen to that and has since been throwing shade back at Trisha, and they're just going back and forth. That's kind of where all I have gotten out of it so far. Does Jaclyn have a new? She probably does, Jen. That's probably why she's getting into all this drama, because she's got something launching. Yeah, Toad's Wild Ride. That's why I was super careful about how I talked about that. Don't get me wrong, though. For anybody, he's not off limits. If he does something wrong, we will just know what to expect in the future, and it's not going to happen that way again. I can promise you that. And the tie-dye. You can't copy tie-dye. Bye, Susie Q. Have a good weekend. Hopefully I see you later. Yeah, so what so he went on this rant, and it pretty much was him complaining. And Britt made a good video about this in one of her car rants. I can't remember, car chat rants. Is that what she titles them? She talked about this, and her points were very valid and very similar to my opinions on him. You quit watching him after that. I stopped, I never really watched James Charles to begin with. I've am a huge consumer of beauty and review channels and stuff like that on YouTube. It's one of my hobbies. It's something I like to get recommendations for, things like that. And he's one that I did try to watch because he was so popular. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll learn something from him. I don't feel he does any kind of tutorials, which is more of what I like, is the tutorials and the reviews. He mainly, from what I have seen, is he does his makeup. And although he does a beautiful job at his makeup and he's very, very talented, it's not the kind of makeup content I like to consume. And then something was just off between, I think it's just the age difference for me. I could never really click or understand like some of the stuff he was trying to say. So it's okay, Melanie. Nobody apologize. It's not a big deal. I just don't want to talk about it without knowing the full context of what's going on. I probably won't care to talk about it and give my opinion once I have seen everything. So he goes on this. So I've never really watched him. I've seen bits and pieces here and there, but not enough to actually like really ever consider myself a fan. I've never subscribed to him, nothing like that. And he has over the years continued to show his entitlement. I think the first time it really, really started to come through is when he did his palette with Morphe. And then he clapped back at, what brand was it? Was it BH or e.l.f.? A drugstore brand or a brand that is of a cheaper cost came out with a very similar palette to the one he had created. And he went off. From that point on, I feel like almost every time he posts anything, it's super controversial because it's him complaining. It's Wet and Wild. Thank you, Heartstrings and Shoelaces. I'm probably always going to mess up when I try to say your name. For me, that's really when I was like, what is going on with him? Like, what is going on with this kid? I have made videos in defense of him about like the inappropriate behavior, people trying to come at him, especially this last recent one. I did talk about that over the length of a couple of videos because I had some strong opinions about it. But that was the only time I've ever really felt the need to come to his somewhat defense. And I wouldn't even say I was coming to his defense. I don't feel I really defend too much of anybody. I kind of try to provide all aspects of information and provide my opinion. My opinion may be in agreeing with that person and trying to stick up for that person, but I don't feel like I have ever, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't feel like I have ever made a video where I just provide one side and just my opinion and move on. I try to always give you guys the option and give you my opinion in that. So I haven't discussed all of James Charles' problematic behavior because it's just so extensive. But lately he's gotten this sense of entitlement, starting with that launch for me. It feels like once he did that, then he came out with the same palette, just smaller and a little bit cheaper. Individuals who purchased both, I really want to ask you why. Why did you buy both of those palettes? It was the same colors, the same layout, just the size of the pans and the palette itself were different. You think it's an age difference for you too? Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I felt a little weird maybe saying that, but it really, I think a lot of it is a maturity issue. You tried to like yeah, you came in late to the, I feel like I kind of was there along with it, to be honest. Yeah, I want to get into that I feel like he's kind of trying to continue to use his age as an excuse. It wasn't even it was just similar. People have made videos like comparison swatches of both palettes, and they're not. Although looking at them, they look somewhat alike, but when you actually swatch the colors, the undertones and stuff like that are totally different. I miss Tati for her reviews too. I really trusted and valued her reviews. She could give a valid review. Exactly. I don't feel like, I mean, there's a couple of other YouTubers. Another YouTuber that I really admire her recommendations. Actually, there's two, is Raw Beauty Christie and Samantha Ravendall. Both of them are, their review stuff is impeccable. I like all of Raw Beauty Christie's content. I don't know if Samantha Ravendall has kind of stopped posting as much, or if she's just not popping up in my time feed anymore, because I haven't seen a video from her in a while. I know she went live not too long ago, but I couldn't catch it. I typically actually like Smoky Glow's reviews, or at least her product recommendations. I have anything I've bought that she's recommended that I thought I would like, I have ended up liking. Yeah, Jeffree Star's a whole nother issue though. That man he's got so much baggage in so many different areas. Has he, what's probably funny about that Totes Wild Ride is I think when he was still gaining his following, he would do dupe videos, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong in that. I feel like almost every beauty guru though has done dupe videos. Yeah, Jen, you'll just have to, I don't even remember any of the creators I had seen do that video. If you just search it in the YouTube search bar, several of the videos will pop up. You love Raw Beauty Christie too. You waited hours for her Pure Beauty lunch. I did not, and I'm probably going to regret that I didn't. I keep seeing that it got restocked and people ordered. I don't know if it's still orderable. I probably should follow up with that, because I am such a huge proponent and fan of hers. Her content is just top notch. She is somebody who, although has gained a massive following, has always stayed humble, has always stayed genuine, at least to who she portrays herself to be online. She's open to the right extent with her fan base. I don't think she's ever been in a drama. I know at one point people were trying to stir shit with her, but she's never done anything to cause herself to be problematic. She is a very, very straight shooter, in my opinion, and somebody that I think more people who are creating YouTube should idolize and look up to, rather than looking up to the people like James Charles. Like, let's be honest, although he has amassed this massive following and fans who are die hard, it is not common for people to gain that much notoriety and power and fame at such a young age so quickly. He happened to hit it at the right time, and he took advantage of it, and good on him for doing that. And having, like, although he's problematic, although I have like opposing opinions on him, and I can criticize how he behaves and some of the things he does, he is a very smart young man, because he has been able to, since he was in his teens, his mid-teens, be able to build a business for himself and a long-lasting business. Even if he quit today or tomorrow, he would be set for life. So whoever was there for him, whether it was his parents or if his parents saw he was gaining this traction and he vocalized that he wanted to take advantage of it, and they were supportive of him getting management to assist him in perpetuating that forward and making it skyrocket. I mean, that was a good decision to make. You love Raw Beauty, Christy? Yeah. That launch was insane. I'm going to have to see if it's still available. You watch Jen Love's reviews. I watch Jen here and there. And there's no reason I don't watch her. Like, I like her reviews and everything. I like how in-depth she goes, but I think that's part of why I don't always keep up with her content, because she does such deep dives that sometimes that's just not what I'm into wanting to consume. I just want to see you swatch it, show it's pretty, show you can use it, and say you like it and why you like it. But I'm kind of cut and dry sometimes. I mean, on days where I have more time, I don't mind to kind of meander and hear fluff stuff. In my opinion, it's fluff stuff. But I get some people are interested in ingredients. They want to know like what's better for the environment. And she goes into stuff like that. And that's awesome. That's something that not a lot of reviewers of makeup does. Yeah, I saw those products that Jen came out with. It did look weird, and I was very skeptical of it. What's his name? Nady. What is his YouTube name? Why can't I think of it? Pop Lux, is that his actual YouTube name? I think it might be. His video on those lip products is phenomenal. He actually shows the way that he did his review on those actually shows the difference in them and what they can do and what they can transform a lipstick. And it made me somewhat interested, but I don't ever wear lipstick, so I didn't get it. You got the palette a couple of days ago and you really like it? You guys are gonna make me want to go buy it. He's like the beauty community Justin Bieber. Yeah, I guess you could make that correlation. Hey, that Amber chick, how are you doing? Hey, Carmen. He got famous using a fake story in regards to prom. Yeah, yeah. And even if that's the case, I mean, it was still a smart move for him to make. That's when, in your opinion, allegedly. That's funny. Hey, Britt, how are you? Yeah, no, I mean, is it shady that there's been allegations and stuff like that the whole picture that went viral and everything was kind of a lie? Yeah, it is. But at the same time, like, you can't fault him. Like, he knew the internet started to make things go viral and Boys and Beauty wasn't super popular. To be, 15, 16 and think, let's make this story up and put it out and see what happens. It's kind of genius, to be honest. Yeah, so, I mean, too many lipsticks, especially these days when lipstick goes out the window with having to wear a mask. Yeah. You've heard good things about Ofra. I have one Ofra. Is it I don't know if it's a lipstick or a lip gloss. Let me see. I only have one, and it came in, which is funny because we were talking about this in Brit's Live. It came in an Ipsy bag. I was subscribed to Ipsy for about a year, and then I realized, although it wasn't an expensive subscription box, it wasn't worth my money. I wasn't getting very many products that I enjoyed or used or could use, but I did get this Ofra lipstick, and I have used it, and it's a pretty good one, but I don't wear lipstick very often. This is just a mauve-y nude color, which once I load my makeup collection video, you'll see about all of the lipsticks I own are that color, and I never wear lipstick. Yeah, I don't hold it against him either, Amber, but I am kind of talking, I was talking about his rant and just how it has escalated. His entitlement has escalated. And I had pointed out how I feel it started. For me, I noticed it started whenever he came out with that launch with Morphe. And then he came out with the same launch, but smaller and a little bit cheaper. And then he wanted to attack, somebody told me it was Wet and Wild, for coming out with the same thing. And then, recently, I know there's stuff in between, but recently we have the whole merch thing with H3 and his wife. And then here we are, and he's got a massive amount of following that no matter what he's always going to have a good bit of following. And he wants to complain about the algorithm on a social media platform and like I said, Britt's video on it is really good because she talks about how he, really focused on how the change of Instagram has to be hurting the smaller businesses. Absolutely. However, so has just this pandemic in general. This pandemic has demolished some, small businesses. They've had to shut down. They've had to get government assistance and still shut down, even with help. He is so out of touch, and he is just trying to make himself somewhat relatable and not get called out by using that kind of terminology. And it just really shows his entitlement to me. It shows his immaturity and his entitlement. Yeah, I said that too, Amber. It's not that I've never been I don't want to like say something and it not be what I actually wanted to say. I've never subscribed to him. I've watched his videos here and there. I think everybody has. And I have like talked about his most recent, which was a few months ago, with the TikToker coming out trying to put allegations against him, which, by the way, we never got clarification of. That just kind of went real quiet. But I talked about that and I kind of defended James in that, but I also criticized him. Like, you have so many followers and people are going to try and use you. I mean, anybody with money, especially money to that extent, will say that they have had some people really close to them, that they've even had family treat them poorly or stab them in the back just to get money. So if you are an influencer putting yourself out to millions of people, there are going to be people who are just trying to clout chase, who are just trying to have you promote them even in the slightest, even if it's a bad publicity move for them, so that you say their name so that they can gain some kind of popularity. And, he has to know that. And we know he has a management team and a PR team. Why are they not like educating him of these things? Or is he just still that entitled? Does it really come down to an entitlement issue where he is that entitled that although these managers and PR people are maybe telling him these things, he just doesn't give a fuck and he's doing it anyways? You love your lip balm. Yeah, I've heard Britt talk about the Treat lip balm. I haven't bought any yet. One product that she's talked about that I went out and bought because of her is the gummy bear, the Laneige. It's right here, obviously. The Laneige gummy bear. I prefer things in a tube rather than a jar. So I like gummy bears, so I got the gummy bear flavor. I had the berry one, which I still have. It's in my bag. but this is what I typically use. I do want to try and get one though, just to see what they are. I know she's shown them in her lives before. They have a lot of product, and that's what is really piquing my interest. I just haven't looked them up yet. You're still waiting for black licorice and bubblegum. I don't like, is it the original flavor of bubblegum? Because I do not like the pink bubblegum. I would eat that so much as a kid, and as an adult, I think we kind of get nostalgic about some things and we buy it just to try it again to see if it like has that same taste or that same texture. And that gum is so hard and it loses its flavor so quickly. He obviously doesn't care. He's in the same kind of drama over and over. Yeah, he is. It is repetitive, and that's why it's got to be like, he's a smart kid. Like, he's smart. He's been able to build this empire around him. He is really intelligent. To be able to do that and maintain it and be as successful as he is smart. He is very smart. But he's lacking common sense somewhere, and that's how he continues to end up, just giving him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's how he keeps ending up in the situations he does. Yeah, I really like the gummy bear one. I don't have the pot though. Did I say what lip color what was? They have cream soda. Ooh, I'm gonna have to look and see what they have. I don't know if there's a Whole Foods by me. There's one in driving distance to some degree, I would imagine. I can't line my lips. I've tried. It's not a pretty sight. Same. Double bubble and bubble yum gums. Can't stand them anymore. Yeah, they're just so hard. They hurt my teeth. Oh, the O for lip color. What is that shade? Oh my Rai. Is that how you say that? Of course, the light's gonna be. Yeah, that's the shade name. I can swatch it. Do I have any makeup thingies around me? I'll find one. I'm not good at swatching, so that's the color. So it's very mauvey nudie. And it does dry down all the way. I've gotten some other lipsticks or liquid lipsticks that really don't dry down, even though they're supposed to. Yeah, I took off the I talked about that a few weeks ago. I did take off the does life of my YouTube name. A lot of that was because when I created my channel, I had anticipated making more vlog type content. However, we see what kind of content I have ended up falling into more so than others. Is the commentary stuff. So I don't feel like having does life at the end of my name make any sense, because I'm not showing you guys my life entirely. At some point, well, maybe I vlog a little bit, probably, but not right now. I just have way too much going on. And I mean, I just don't want and it's a long name. Some people were having problems remembering my name, my YouTube name, and I felt bad. So I think James Charles is smart, but he keeps fumbling around. I don't know. I don't know, Jen. That's a good question. Maybe it is just the people he has assisting him. I think a lot of his mistakes and things that he gets called out for and stuff really speaks to his immaturity. And what I have to question is he has grown up online, so he hasn't, I'm sure his childhood, although he started, this, I don't know if you want to call it famousness or whatever, he started gaining his following at such a young age that from that point on, his teenage years weren't what a typical teenager experiences. So I wonder if a lot of his immaturity is a result of that. Yeah, it's a nice shade. I don't hardly ever wear lipstick though. It's I did in a video recently, or one of my lives a few weeks ago. That's recent to me, a few weeks ago. I just it's a step in makeup that I don't care about. Probably because I can't line my lips well or anything like that. You showed what I'm gonna have to go back because I don't remember seeing this. I don't know if I was there for that live where you talked about the, or was it just a video that you did, Britt, where you talked about the treat chapsticks? Because I want to go reference that. Yeah, Toad's Wild Ride. I did watch the Chris Watts documentary, and I would highly suggest you go watch Britt's live in replay from last night because that was the topic of her live. So we all discussed it. It's a normal video. I must have missed that one, or I don't remember it. I'll have to go back and watch it. All of his assistants look to be under 35, maybe even 30 as well. He needs more mature veteran. Never seen one. I've never seen one in his videos either. I don't even know what his assistants and his management and PR team look like. I don't know if it matters. I'm 30, and I still make mistakes. I don't know if I would, even with my YouTube and like me promoting myself and stuff like that. I don't promote myself hardly at all, and I'm not very business savvy, obviously. So I don't know if it's an age issue or if he just, I don't know. That's an interesting way to think about it, Melanie. Yeah, Toad's Wild Ride. I have watched a couple of other videos here on YouTube, a couple of other documentaries, like bits and pieces of them. And all of the Hey Lears and all of the other documentaries and stuff and YouTube stuff that you see, she is brought up more as like a concern to be a part of it than what the Netflix documentary talked like alluded to. And that's kind of where I was stuck in the live was and I kept relating to it in my comments was that I'm not downing Netflix for making the documentary. However, it not only was it my opinion, but several people's opinion that they kind of jumped the gun, so to speak. Like they didn't put forth all the time and the information that people kind of expect from Netflix. Netflix came out with the huge documentary on the Tiger King, like Britt said in her live. They came out with a huge Epstein stuff. Like, why did they put such a huge event, like it's such a terrible crime, into such a short time? It was only like an hour or just shy of an hour. There was so much information that I have even seen, not even fully following the case as other people have. And I was kind of irritated that they left out some stuff. Have I already explained who gave me the name Manda Pants? I did in my Get to Know Me tag, but I don't mind. It's a really quick story, actually. So when I was growing up, I've always grown up with dogs and animals. We had a dog. He wasn't very big. How big was he? He was maybe like 30, 35 pounds. He was a smaller medium dog. I say that I prefer larger dogs. That's just my preference. So when I say little dogs don't necessarily translate to everybody. So he was about mid-calf height, and he was a kind of herding dog. He was a mutt, so we didn't know really what he was, but he did a lot of herding in the house with us and with the other dogs. His name was Jack, and he was very prancy. I don't know, this is probably going to make me sound crazy because I talk for my animals. I give them voices, we give them personalities. It is what it is. I guess I'm showing a little bit of my weird side. So he was very prancy. So my sister said that he was like was a male dog, that he was like super feminine and that he was always like strutting around because he would prance, and she started calling him Jackie Pants. And then one of my friends was over or something like that, and we said, I called him that because he was like prancing around and stuff. And then for some reason it just stuck for me to be called Manda Pants. And then like that's the name on my senior shirt. So that's where it came from. But I have so many nicknames that it's hard to keep track of them all. Some of them just happen without me even knowing they happen. I hope that answered your question. You didn't know there was more to the girlfriend. I think anybody on initial glance of this case, like if you just saw like a part of it, you might not look more into the girlfriend. But there are some things that, excuse me, are super concerning. You got cotton candy and you love it. I like cotton candy. Maybe I'm gonna have to go watch that video of Brits to know which one to for color wise, if some of them are tinted. Yeah. I mean, Netflix has kind of gotten this reputation of doing really in-depth, thorough documentaries. And I feel like this one, they kind of wanted to pull a Katie Joy, so to speak, and be the first ones to get it out there. Yeah, Jay does have all of it. She's got, and she has some different perspectives as well. We're talking about the Chris Watts documentary on Netflix. I don't know. Does Jay have a channel, Jen? I don't think she has a channel. She is just a subscriber of a lot of creators in this sphere. She's subscribed to me. She's subscribed to Britt. She subscribed to Sloan. I think she subscribed to Beast Boy. I mean, she's subscribed to a lot of people, and she usually will chat if she is here. So I don't think she's here today. I don't know if she has a Twitter. Bye, Terry. Have a good weekend. Yeah, I mean, she was bringing in some interesting and hot points in Brit's live when we were talking about that. Like, she should create a channel just for that stuff. I don't know how she does it either. I don't. Hey, Mike, how are you? I don't know. I don't know how some, even like not just subscribers, but some influencers get the information that they do. Yeah, all of our dogs. I mean, every dog is different anyways, so it's not totally out there to assume that your animals have personalities like you do, because they do. I mean, you can just, dogs act differently because they have a different personality than each other. So it's not crazy to think, but I'm one of those people who, I don't do it when people are around. It's more just my husband and I do it with the two that we have now. Sorry, I'm trying to get a wipe to wipe off this swatch on my hand, because I'll forget, and then I'll wipe my face, and then I'll have a nice streak. Yeah, I agree, Jen. They all talk to you with their face expressions, their mannerisms. I 100% agree with you. Yes, they are. They are lovely to have. Okay, so we've talked about James Charles. Is there any, and we kind of talked about the Chris Watts documentary. Is there any other things that you guys want to talk about? We can talk about, I mean, the Jeffree Star stuff, I'm sure has been like hit by so many people. So many people have talked about it, but if you want me to talk about it, I will. There's that. Of course, there's the Sophie stuff, the updates with the Sophie stuff, which I probably will talk about before I get off, just because I want to. I don't know if Jen said, so I am wondering why the Watts documentary was the only video with all the stuff you guys have talked about. I'm not sure if I understand your question. Yeah, the article with Jeffree Star, it was really long, and I read it all. And I wasn't super shocked. To be honest, I was not shocked. I'm more shocked that it took this long for someone to really root around, because he has been so problematic and so many people don't like him for so long. I'm surprised it wasn't like dug up sooner, if that makes sense. No, he didn't think the boyfriend thing through. You missed the updates. We'll talk about it here in a minute, that Amber chick. It's nothing new. I don't know if I was more going to talk about, like, Josh and Annie have gone live, what was it, a couple of days ago? And I was going to talk about the stuff that they talked about. I've got a couple of notes. And in relation to that, I was going to talk about how Katie has kind of made somewhat of a fool of herself. You talk for them. Yeah, I do too. Oh, why is it only the one episode? Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying in Brit's live. And I think a couple of other people were kind of in agreeing with that, there's so much more information that it's surprising they only made one episode. And the way that they portrayed some of the information, I wasn't a huge fan of. I was not, when I first was told about this story through one of you guys, I can't remember who, mentioned it. So I did start looking, and I saw, the first thing I saw was, or maybe somebody DM'd me the video they wanted me to watch. I think that's it. They DM'd me the video they wanted me to watch. And I did watch it, and that video at the very end was like the final court stuff where both parents got to stand up and talk to the courts. And I was crying so hard from listening to some of those, listening to each person's story. And then to see what Netflix included, I was like, what? There was so much more telling information and like the impact of this horrific crime in the other people's speeches to the courts. Like, I did not understand that. That really made me mad. The squirrels at your bird feeder. Yeah, I don't know why. And I'm sure Dateline, like you're saying, and other, I don't know what Datelines look like. I'm sure as time continues to go on, Netflix will either release more to that or an updated one, or a network like ID or something like that is going to do their own. You watched about 4 hours of stuff. Yeah, it's very easy to get into rabbit holes with crime. Yeah, it was You Toad's Wild Ride. Yeah, I watched that, and that there at the very end of that video, they have each family member, adult family member, like get on and like be able to address the courts for the victims. And those were so telling and so sad, so hard to listen to. Squirrels have an attitude. Has ID done one? It wouldn't surprise me if they have. But I mean, without seeing the other ones, I don't want to say that Netflix did a bad job. And I liked the video. I learned, or the documentary, I learned some things in that documentary I hadn't known previously. I had intentionally, which I know was out there, but I had intentionally not looked to figure out how the children had came to their demise, because I really didn't want to know. Uh, in a documentary, it's typically presented a little bit differently and easier to handle. But I was not a fan of how it's assumed what happened to them, and that it's just devastating. I'll have to go look, Dark Lily. I didn't know that they had done one. Yeah, Toad's Wild Ride. I've heard of that too. Who was it? I can't remember. There's been a couple of YouTubers who have posted videos. Excuse me, I haven't had anything to drink. Who've posted videos kind of talking about the Cuties film that has gotten everybody concerned about Netflix, and like it kind of speaks to like their morals, really. I know Comic Nut did one. I watched his, and he has all of the like actual legal, not all, but he has some of like the actual legal documents that are being used. So if you're interested in that, I would suggest going to his channel and watching his video on it. I think if you didn't know about the case. Yeah, Della, I did appreciate how they like actually kind of communicated some of the text messages that were going on. And I liked how they talked about things. Thank you. I liked how they discussed everything, but overall, like if you hadn't heard of this case or known anything about it, that's kind of the issue I have, I guess, is because I had looked at other stuff, so I knew there was information that wasn't totally looked into or provided by the documentary. So I was like, for the average person, I mean, this is all maybe they're going to know about it. They're not going to know of some of this other stuff that causes him to even look more guilty. I think Mike was talking about the one that was done on Insider by Jeffree Star. It was very telling though, because that article on Jeffree Star that was done, they talk about how they had at least 2 or 3 individuals come forward and be willing to disclose some concerning behaviors of Jeffree Star. And then by the end of it, they had recanted, and there was even some evidence allegedly that Jeffree was paying them off to not talk. He has the money to do it. That's why I'm surprised, like, it has taken this long for something to come out. Yeah, you know enough just knowing what he did. I agree with you. I know who you were talking about, Melanie. We've got a couple of different topics going on, which is fine. Yeah, so I don't know. I really I think I feel the same as most people do. Like, I really just wish I could have like a 5-minute conversation or a 10-minute Of course, I would prefer to have more time than that, but I would be comfortable with just having like 5 or 10 minutes to ask some of these larger influencers who have been problematic specific questions, like to the point questions. And I'm sure that there's people out there who do know what actually happened aside from them in every problematic situation. It really, I think, is boiling down to they have money, they have bought their silence, and they have had them sign NDAs. So if in the event that they get mad at them or somebody comes to them, they don't have anything to talk about. And I think Jeffree Star in particular, this is my opinion, is that he became very legal savvy quickly. And I'm not saying it was because he was always maybe doing questionable things, but it is my opinion he became aware of the idea that people will use anything they can against him. So he was having people sign NDAs and stuff like that from a pretty early point in his career. I think the few people who Insider had spoken to were ones that he hadn't quite gotten that either knowledge or education from someone else at that point. And that's why, because all of those individuals, from what I recall, and let me know if you've read the article and I'm wrong, but what I recall is almost every person that they had talked to appeared to have been from his MySpace days and his Warped Tour days. So that was very, very early in his career. And then nobody has really come out and said that he's paid them off or he's been inappropriate. There's videos to allude to Jeffree being inappropriate with people, which substantiate one of the claims that the Insider made, because they refer to Jeffree groping a male in his private parts while on Warped Tour. And there is a video that everybody who has any doubts about Jeffree or has watched any critical video of Jeffree, it is brought up. They show the clip of him walking up to a man and grabbing his crotch in making some kind of comment. That specifically is referred in this article, which to me kind of gives them credibility. It could also just be a really good reporter who knows how to utilize information available to them to help push the story they want to push. I mean, we do have to keep our minds open about that. Yeah, $10,000 was mentioned a lot. Yeah, Jen, no, I agree with you. I think anybody, yeah, I've seen the video too. He is kind of scary. And I think that's why people are afraid to cross him, because he has a lot of wealth. And although wealth maybe doesn't buy you power, it buys you really top-notch attorneys. It can buy you through a lot of stuff. I mean, we see people like Jeffrey Epstein who get away with it for a very, 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 very long time due to the wealth that they have. Jeffree Star has a ton of money. He is able to buy people off, whether he is or he isn't. He has the ability to do that. I don't know if I know who that is. Should I know who that is, Toast Wild Ride? I feel like that's somebody I should know who it is, and either I'm drawing a blank or I'm just showing that I have no idea who it is. He's just, it's so hard to really like talk about Jeffrey, just because there's so much. It is so hard to like actually sit down and unpack everything with him, because there is so much and it continues to happen. He's the one who started the Me Too movement. Okay, I'm getting a general idea of who you're talking about now. I just don't remember the specific details of it. But he's gross. And like I said about James Charles, I'll say about Jeffree Star, I at one point was briefly subscribed to Jeffree Star. And I didn't fall into the madness that other people do about like being wholehearted into one person, like one influencer. I've never been that kind of person. But I didn't stay subscribed to him for long. And I don't understand, what I do understand is his makeup allegedly is of good quality. I don't own any of his makeup, so I wouldn't know. But he obviously, it has to be decent to some degree because people continue to buy it. But his makeup is well known. So I just lost my train of thought. This is why I don't ever have my phone next to me, because if it goes off, I get distracted. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you guys are starting to ring a bell. He is offensive, and like, okay, I just caught my mind, my brain got back on track. Aside from his makeup brand and like his music, which he hasn't done in a long time, I don't understand why people are so vested in his content, like his YouTube content. I know he kind of got popular for his Jeffree Star approved reviews. I really didn't agree with a lot of his opinions about the products. And I really didn't, if you really look at it, he would like review products that people would genuinely be interested in how they perform, just due to their outrageous prices. And I kind of think to some degree he was maybe knocking it off of Tati, because Tati did the WTF, or is that what she called it? Is that what she called those videos where it was super expensive priced makeup, like super luxury, high end, that she would review, and her reviews were thorough. I don't feel that Jeffree Star's reviews have ever really been thorough, and he's always pushing. If you really pay attention, he is subliminally pushing his product through almost every product review he does. Yeah, it is Friday, and it's been a rough week for me. So my brain's kind of fried, and I haven't had dinner. So it's likely to happen from time to time. It's okay. I don't I don't mind. I've had my phone in here. It's just been face down, and I don't hear it vibrate when it's face down. But I had asked my husband to bring me a bottle of water, and when I did that, I left it face up, so I got distracted. Hey, Nurse Kimberly, how are you? Yeah, he is a poor example. I know. It's okay, Jen. One day I will probably drink out of a can, just because I'm likely to forget that whole conversation happened, and you'll be able to call me out on it. You felt bad for him? Previously, you felt bad for him? Yeah, I've never really felt bad for him. I'm going to be careful with this next comment, and please don't take offense to this. And this is mainly referring to people like Jeffree Star and James Charles. They try to portray themselves as the one who is being done wrong. I don't want to necessarily say that they're calling themselves a victim or they're making themselves out to be victims. However, every time they get into a situation or a scenario, they turn it, or they are careful with how they talk about the situation moving forward, kind of making people think that they were the ones who were done wrong. They were the ones, like they twist it into this way where, unless you're really taking a step back and not letting your feelings get involved as a watcher, you are likely just to agree with them. If you're allowing your feelings and your loyalty to one YouTuber over another dictate who you're going to watch and who you're going to weigh more of your opinion on. Rather than if you take a real step back and you take your emotions out of it, knowing them, or having any kind of connection with them as an influencer, a YouTuber, their content, and you watch them from the situation from an unbiased or an unknowing situation, you are likely to see both sides, and you may actually find yourself being able to see the other side's argument more. And I feel like with them, so many of their fans are so vested in them as people, in their companies, in their brands, that they really can't take that. Part of it is I don't think a lot of their fan base is old enough to be able to even acknowledge these things, to take a step back and to really look at the situation that they're saying happened, and maybe see how you have seen other people talk about it, or how it's kind of mentioned, and see it in a different light, if any of that made sense. Yeah, I've noticed that Patrick Starr's been pushing his own products, and somebody, I can't remember who, somebody said something about it and was kind of saying what product was he reviewing? Do you guys know? It was that new, whose brand was it that just launched? I can't think of her name. I can see her face. A celebrity, I'm just going to put it that way, a celebrity recently just launched a brand, and Patrick Starr did do a review of the brand, but he continued after every product. If he had a product like that or similar to that, he pushed his own product, which is, it's super, super cringy. I don't understand why these influencers feel it's necessary. Your loyal fan base, I promise you, has already bought it. Whether it's good or not, they've already bought it because they support you and they want to continue to support you. Yeah. You think youngsters like his attitude? I don't judge you, Amber, because I'm sure I will be drinking out of a can probably this weekend, to be honest. Yeah, I agree with you, Kimberly. Yes, Rare Beauty by Selena Gomez. Thank you guys, because I could not remember. It's like, I know she's famous. I could picture her. I just couldn't. And that goes to show like how much my memory really is affected. I know I talk about it more in like my adoption and my story, my foster care story stuff, but my memory really is affected from the traumas I've experienced as a child, and I can't remember artists. Like there's music that I really enjoy that I can never remember the band or the artist name or even the song name. The way I find it is I Google the lyrics that I can remember. And then obviously it pops up and tells me who it is. Same things with actors, same things with movies. I've talked about the movies thing before. You know, I can't, one of the things my husband does is movie quotes to like if something's funny and he thinks of a scene from a movie, he'll like quote the movie, and it goes way over my head because I can't remember it. Yeah, Nurse Kimberly, I think as social media has become some of the primary forms of entertainment consumption, I think some parents are starting to monitor what their children are watching. And you know, I'm not a parent, so I don't know what that's like right now, but I can only assume if I walked in on my teenage daughter or son watching a makeup video or somebody doing their makeup, I probably wouldn't think twice to actually pay attention to who they're watching or what was being said unless I overheard something problematic. And if you really look at either Jeffree Star or James Charles content, Jeffree curses occasionally, so do I. But other than that, like in like the last year, I don't think he's really put forth anything in his videos that would be considered problematic on their own. Does that make sense? Because yeah, he curses, which can be a criticism for people not to want their children to hear curse words. I understand that. My demographic is not young, so I don't mind cursing on my channel. I feel like most of my subscribers who come know that I tend to curse occasionally. So I'm just assuming you're not watching it around your kids. And if you are, uh, your kids are of an age where you can have that conversation or they don't understand what a curse word is. But in the past, he has been problematic. In the past, he has openly used substances on his channel. And as I have said in other videos, when I've talked about other channels, I don't mind people partaking in marijuana. If it's legal and if it's for a medicinal reason, then who am I to judge? And even if you're doing it recreationally, who am I to judge? As long as it's not hurting you or somebody else, I don't care. But you should not be promoting it to your audience. And that's just my opinion. And that's kind of how it's going to stay, especially when it's very blatant what you're doing. I really like Nady from Pop Lux, and he's done a couple of videos where it's very obvious to an adult what he is doing, but he does it in a way where maybe a younger person wouldn't necessarily catch on to what they're doing. I don't necessarily have a problem with that, and maybe that makes me a hypocrite in that sense. But I don't like when people like Jeffree Star, Tana Mojo, there's other YouTubers as well who almost promote it consistently and even promote worse things. Like Tana, she promotes harder substance use. She promotes abusing prescription pills. She promotes all kinds of drug use. And it's been historically proven that her fan base is of a younger age. Yeah, don't feel like you're the only one, Totes Wild Red. I've got a terrible memory. Yeah, and I know Nurse Kimberly, I know he has said that specific word, which a lot of people find vulgar. I haven't known for him to say it on his YouTube channel recently. Has he? Like within the last year, has he said? I know in his Instagram lives and his Snapchats, he's no filter. He's just, it is what it is. And I've never really watched his Instagram or his Snapchat. I don't even use Snapchat anymore. I primarily see all those in the drama channels when they're talking about it, and they play the replays. No, Amber, I can see both sides too. I can see the argument from the other side, and I'm not trying to damn anybody who does do that. I just hope that the people who are maybe are checking their analytics and making sure that they don't have a younger fan base. I don't have any, like, my analytics show that there are no teenagers who watch my videos. The analytics on my channel show that everybody is at least 24. So I have an older fan base, so I'm more comfortable cursing in talking about more serious things. But I just don't like it when, if you have a younger fan base and you can tell you have a younger fan base, that you are maybe using that kind of language like mentioned, or when you're pushing substances that even if it's legal, if they can't obtain it, they shouldn't be doing it. Hey, Zales and Destroy. I appreciate you commenting. I just lost the chat. Give me just a second. Yeah, I haven't provided anybody an explanation for that video, and I don't intend to. It speaks for itself. And what happened afterward also speaks for itself. That's why they both are there. for anybody who's interested. Yeah, Tana's just a mess altogether. Yeah, I think cussing has kind of became a part of like normal English language. Not that I think that that's a good thing. It kind of seems to be that way. Tana is the same as Jake Paul. Yeah, I've never closely watched Jake Paul. Obviously, I know of his constant um, dramas that he continues to get himself in, but I never watched him. It kind of like Tana. I never really watched Tana either. I think this goes to even the James Charles stuff we were talking about earlier. Although I watched these people come on the platform, but I very quickly did not align with the kind of content and stuff that they were putting out. And I think it had to do with the age difference. I was already, what was this? I'm several years older than both of them. So I understand they gained popularity because of that generation getting very much into social media. You stopped watching about a year ago. Yeah, so I don't know if he has any kind of content that I've seen of his get pushed or that people are covering. Doesn't seem to have that kind of stuff. It seems that a lot of his dramas and stuff are not happening from YouTube. It's happening from outside sources, which he's causing himself. The only stuff that really happened on YouTube with YouTube drama was Tati making her video, calling him and Shane Dawson out and all of that stuff. Yeah, that was just what I was trying to say, Amber. I'm not trying to convince anybody to change their mind on how you view it or how you view YouTubers who do that on their channel. I mean, it's their channel, they can do what they want, but I was going to provide some clarifying information so somebody wouldn't assume I was trying to say one thing when I wasn't. I don't know why some of these comments are like not publishing on their own. I agree, Jen. I think he should have been arrested. He did get arrested for the looting stuff though, didn't he? I know he didn't stay in jail, but he did get arrested, right? It is white privilege, and which can go hand in hand, is the fact that he is wealthy. Yeah, if a younger demographic ever were to start watching my content, I would probably take it upon myself to censor myself more. However, I don't think the kind of content I create, aside from maybe my makeup videos, which is once in a blue moon, would a younger person even click on. You don't watch Jake Paul. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, thanks, Stella. You always try to make sure people are engaging. I click the live chat. Mine's always selected to live chat. Typically, you've been in most of my lives, Toad's Wild Ride. I typically don't get so many people that I can't keep up with the chat on my own. So I keep it, so I'm engaging with everybody to the best of my ability. I think there's only been really one time when I wasn't able to manage the chat. 20 is fine. I mean, you're legal. Maybe not drinking legal, but you're over the age of 18. If you can serve our country, I think you can hear some cursing. I think your demographic is very important. I mean, it makes making your content easier and more consumable for the people who you know are watching it. If my demographic showed that I had teenagers watching my demographic, watching my content, you can tell it's getting late. Watching my content, I would bleep out the curse words and I probably wouldn't be so harsh about some things. But for the most part, that I think that's the only part of my content which anybody could really criticize as being somewhat problematic is the fact that I curse. And to be honest, I find it almost near impossible to find a creator who doesn't curse in at least one of their videos. Is it maybe not a regular thing for them? There's a lot of people like that. I know Smokey Glow hardly ever curses in her videos. So, and I know there's plenty of other people who are like that as well. But I am not going to change who I am unless I have to for the safety of my viewership. But my viewership falls under the demographic that I assumed it would for the kind of content I make. And I think that's a good parenting choice to watch what your kids are watching 100%, because there's some weird, I don't know if anybody's ever gone down the rabbit hole on YouTube, but there's some weird stuff on this platform. Some really, really weird stuff. That's funny. Yeah, I will feel terrible if any of my relatives' kids ever cussed because I cussed in front of them. It hasn't happened, and we're far enough. I shouldn't say it that way. I'm farther from all of my family than I have been in the past, so I don't have like face-to-face contact with any of my younger family members who that would fall into an issue with. Yeah, I don't think my content would even slightly entertain a teenage audience. And I don't say that to mean anything negative by it, but a lot of my content is me telling my personal journey through some of hardships of childhood, and teenagers aren't really necessarily interested in stuff like that unless they can relate to it. And those stories, those 3 playlists that I have on that stuff, although my mannerisms and how I talk and stuff is the same, I don't hardly curse in those videos. I think I do a couple of times in a few of them, but generally I don't cuss in those because that's not the memo. When I'm talking about commentary and I'm getting frustrated or I'm getting heated or something is getting to me, I want you guys to see the real me. I'm not trying to be cookie cutter. I'm not trying to gain a huge following so I can live off of YouTube. I do this for fun. I do this to have a community to talk to because I watch content that nobody in my life watches. And I enjoy having good conversation with others, whether you're agreeing with me or disagreeing with me. Having those conversations is nice as an adult. And the content that I've been trying to make is, when I'm talking about commentary, is I have always tried to remain pretty fair and unbiased while providing my opinion. And I think for the most part, I have been successful in that. But I'm going to make mistakes, and I know that mistakes are going to happen. What part do you think people teens would relate to, Jen? No, I get what you're saying, Nurse Kimberly, 100%. I don't know who that actor is. I don't know if I've seen Goodfellas, but I've seen Home Alone. Is anyone else buffering? Oh no, don't tell me I'm buffering. Yeah, no, in that kind of content, my content about my foster care journey and being adopted and how that stuff still can affect me to this day and how it does. Those videos I stay pretty level in, just for the knowledge that somebody who is going through that may click on those videos. That is why I started this channel. I don't know if you have viewed or if you have been in my lives when I've talked about how I have actually gotten to this point on my YouTube channel, like why I created my channel to begin with. So, hey, Heather. Okay. Yeah, you can watch it on replay. For those of you who don't know, it's always weird trying to explain how this happened to me. Have a good night, Kimberly. I'll see you next time. So how I created my channel was my husband and I moved far away from family, which was new. I had always lived really close to my family since I was adopted. They were always 5-10 minutes away from me. So they were my supports. They were all I had. I had a couple of friends. That was it. We moved at the end of January. And I had I was working immediately. So I've always worked since we've been here, but I started to miss my old work, which was dealing with child welfare. If you have any interest in what I did, if you've seen any of my stuff talking about the Sophie case, I never have said my exact job. You can easily deduce through how I talk about things what my previous work was. I missed that because the career I am in now, although it still pertains to social work, it's not involving children as much. And helping children is my passion because of my own experience. So coming here and working this job, being away from my family, I started to get like an emptiness feeling, so to speak. So I talked to my mom and I talked to my husband, and I was like, man, I wish there was some kind of position, and this position might exist somewhere and I just don't know about it. But I was like, man, I wish there was some kind of position where I could go and just like be a motivational speaker and, you know, maybe be an inspiration to kids who are in care. I lived in care for 10 years. You know, and I ended up being able to make a life for myself. I ended up, you know, getting a degree, being successful, being able to be independent. You know, I want to be able to offer that to others. I wish something like this existed. And we couldn't think of anything. And then I started talking. I was like, you know, YouTube's kind of the same thing to some degree. Like, it's a platform. People who are interested in this stuff can search it. Maybe if they're interested in my story or they're experiencing something similar, they can click on it. So that is how I started my YouTube channel. And then after I had posted maybe 1 or 2, maybe even 3 videos into my journey, the stuff with Micah Stauffer happened and what they did with their child. And that lit a fire. I saw that and I was so upset. And I now had this platform where I could provide my opinion. I had not only experienced stuff like that in my own life, but I had observed it in my professional life. I knew how stuff operated. I know how stuff works. And so I felt I was going to utilize my platform and give my commentary on this situation and talk about it from my perspective. And that's when I filmed that video, and I gained quite a bit of subscribers from that, more than I ever thought would. And more people have viewed that video than I ever even imagined would be possible. So, and I kind of followed that story. And then the stuff with the beauty gurus kind of happened, the Tati and the Jeffree Star and James Charles. And I had watched all of that stuff unfold. I have been a loyal YouTube watcher for several years, like 8 years. And I knew the backstory. And I was like, well, I have this platform. Why not talk about this stuff too? Because people were interested in my commentary about the, excuse me, I drink too much, about the Micah Stauffer stuff. Maybe people will be interested in my commentary about other stuff. And that's how this has developed to the point it is now. I never anticipated it coming to this. I never in a million years would have thought I would have been providing commentary. I really was creating my channel to get my story out there, to maybe be support to other people, to give people an outlet if they needed one, to give people resources if they needed resources. It wasn't to get on here and talk about a whole bunch of people. However, you guys enjoy my commentary. You like that I can be level-headed and objective and see both sides of things. And that's how I plan on continuing to operate my channel. And if you guys ever see that I do something wrong or I provide misinformation, I hope you will call me out. And I always encourage people to provide their opinion, even if it's opposing of mine. I'm not going to get mad at you. I would want to have a discussion about it. Oh, the nail video. Yeah, I've kind of done every video possible at this point. What is peer work for you? Define peer work. I appreciate that, Amber. Yeah, it was just because the question came up and it seemed that maybe some of you guys hadn't heard that that's how I developed into this. And my open discussions, yeah, and that's what Jen kind of is talking about, the open discussions that I do on live. I do those because of my background. I have a bachelor's degree in social work. I'm not a mental health counselor or a therapist, but I have very good knowledge of these things from my degree. And with the work that I have done, both in the field and in the office that I have worked over the past like 3.5 years now, I have hands-on experience with substance abuse and with mental health and how they go hand in hand, and how sometimes one is affecting the other and one's the cause for the other. So I talk about those things because they are real world issues that people are trying to break the stigmas for, which I commend them. I do. But some people are trying to break the stigma in the wrong way, in my opinion. Having a conversation with your audience about these things in an open, candid manner, slightly educational if it can be, is going to be better than saying, oh, I popped off on so and so last week because I was super anxious. Explain what being anxious for you looks like to your audience. Don't just make it an excuse, because it's not. Although it can cause you to maybe react a certain way, your behavior didn't cause you to be anxious. You were anxious previous to that, and maybe it got exacerbated by something. But you need to be able to explain that to your audience if you're going to use it, because to me, to some degree, people are even further stigmatizing mental health at times by using it as an excuse rather than trying to make it a pivotal point to, I'm not saying they need to advocate for it, but to actually educate. Oh, thanks, Heartstrings and Shoelaces. Yeah, a lot of people have found my channel from the Micah stuff, and I know several of them weren't interested in some of my content, and I've dipped here and there. But I appreciate the ones who have stayed and who have like given me the opportunity to be somebody that you guys are interested in watching and interested in conversing with. People who lived. I don't think there's like positions like that here, Toad's Wild Ride. Not that I can think of. And most work that I have, stuff like that isn't offered for. I typically work, I don't want to say the type of agencies that I work for. You have, those things don't exist in. That's awesome. What kind of work do you do for the schools? Hey, Steph, how are you? And that's fine. I've talked about that before, Steph. Don't ever feel, or anybody who may be just watching and not commenting, don't feel pressured to engage in the chat. I was a silent watcher for a very long time, and I still am a silent watcher. I do try my best to support the channels that I feel deserve the support, that I watch regularly. And I have channels that I really like and support, and I've never left a comment. I've never engaged in a live stream. Do what's best for you. Do what makes you comfortable. If you feel comfortable and you want to chat, we're going to do what we can to make you feel comfortable here. I try to monitor my chat enough to where if anything bully like or overtly mean is happening, if it's towards me to a degree, I'm gonna allow it, but not towards each other. I'm not gonna allow that, and I have never seen that happen except for one time, and that was a really weird situation in it of itself. So I'm glad you felt comfortable enough to popping in just for a little bit, Steph. I haven't. Jen, I saw he posted that this week has been really, really, really hard for me. Most of you guys know why. Um, Aside from the one big issue you guys know about, I've kind of mentioned here and there, I have some other stuff going on in my personal life that pulls my attention. I had a family member who was living with my husband and I who left. So that's been an adjustment. And then I've had a relative pass away, not due to COVID, but relative passed. So, and there's other things too. So I really am like going through quite a bit, and losing my dog on Monday was like the last straw. And everything that's happened, I just really needed to take a step back and to like ground myself, because I don't think it's healthy for a YouTuber who is not grounded in their own being to be able to get on and try to talk about other people, which is what I do, or try and educate people about mental health or substance use. If I'm not in a good mindset, it's not a good idea for me to come on and try to have these open discussions, causing myself to be vulnerable. I hopped on the other day and talked about my dog and the situation, and it was very evident. I've watched that live back that I was still struggling. I struggled a lot just to get through what had happened. If I tried to tell you now, I'd probably be able to talk through it without getting choked up. And I know most of you guys understand that and are supportive of that, and I really appreciate it. Like, genuinely, you don't know how much I appreciate it. And for those of you who were able to find me on Instagram or Twitter and reached out to me during this whole thing, and even some other things that have happened to make sure I'm okay, like, I never ever thought that me just trying to get on here and talk to people, that it would end up like that. It really has been life-changing in a good way. And it's kind of funny because when you hear YouTubers say that, you think it's super cliche and, how can they feel that way? But it's a legitimate feeling. Yeah, I know what a parapro is. That's awesome. That's some hard work. I really appreciate the time that you have done that, especially for high schoolers. That's a harder age to be a parapro for in some degrees, depending on the level of need that the kids in the class would have had. But that's amazing. That's really good work. My mom's a retired teacher. So I hold any kind of teacher or people who work in schools to a very high degree. Bob's Burgers is your therapy? I like Bob's Burgers. We don't have cable anymore, so we kind of bounce around and don't watch, like, what channel does that typically come on? I don't know. Was it Cartoon Network, Adult Swim? I think that's what we would watch when we would go to bed, and it would play like Family Guy, then it would play American Dad and Bob's Burgers. That would be our nightly channel that we watched. I like Bob's Burgers. My humor is really, really weird. Hey Amber, how are you? I'm sorry. Yeah. Unfortunately, we feel the same pain and it stinks. It's terrible to have to go through that. I hope you're doing well. It's fresh for me. It's only been 4 days, but I'm getting better for sure. And I hope you're getting better. Your husband can tell when you're talking to somebody from New York. Hey, Vicky. Yeah, it was definitely. It's not an easy thing to do. Um, but the hardest part is making that choice. And, there really wasn't a choice for us to have to make. He was in a lot of pain, and he probably was only going to go downhill even quicker. And the last thing, and I'm sorry if anybody has ever experienced finding a pet in your own home that's no longer with us. I know I would not be here if I was in that situation. I would probably need to be medicated to be able to handle that. That would be super traumatic for me. Oh, for sure. Definitely, Zales. Like, we're not, I don't know what encouraged you to pop in, and I'm not going to speculate. It is what it is, but I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you've engaged in the conversation. I wonder, would you be comfortable with saying what kind of work you do, Amber, if you're dealing with both the US and Canada and schools? If not, don't feel pressured. I'm glad you're better. Yeah, I know it takes a while. This isn't the first time I've gone through this. I've, as somebody who's always had animals, growing up, it was my mom or my dad, primarily my mom, who made those decisions for the family pets. Once we got dogs, my husband and I, that decision has come on us. And unfortunately, this wasn't the first time we had to make this decision. Oh, okay. That makes sense. It's interesting. So is it like tech support kind of? It's definitely tech work, right? Because you're supporting the messaging system, but you're inputting the data. I don't think I'm smart enough for tech stuff. You guys have observed how long it has taken for me to even slightly figure out my YouTube stuff, and it's still a struggle. Every day, every time I film, I run into some kind of issue that I don't feel like I should be having, but because I'm challenged in technology, I am having. And, when it comes to like actual computers, I'm sure this statement's probably going to make me sound real smart. But when it comes to like actual like computers and laptops and softwares, like software for a job, I have no issue learning software and how to work it and like being able to figure it out and get into the nooks and crannies. I can figure out software, but I can't figure out filming and editing. I appreciate you guys for sticking through as I have gone through this tumultuous ride with figuring out how to do everything. No, and don't feel that way. I'm being super careful about how I talk about it, and I'm sure you probably can understand why. I just want it to be done and over with. It happened. People who are interested in knowing what happened can go view it. That's why those things are still up. It had nothing to do with your comment. It happened before you had even commented. Um, I don't know how it got lost in translation, but it did. And I'm just really trying to, no offense to you, I'm just trying to put it away and like not address it, because I know if I do, it's just going to perpetuate it being talked about. And what's the point? You know, if you have any specific questions for me, which this could probably get me back into the shit storm again, but you can reach out to me on my social media. My Twitter and Instagram are the same as my YouTube, or it's Amanda Pants Does Life. You guys are always welcome to reach out to me there if you ever have anything you want to ask me or you want to tell me, or if you have any ideas that you want me to film. Feel free to DM me or reach out to me. I don't link those things in my description box because I can't remember my passwords. Goes to show how human I am and how I'm really just doing this for fun. I'm not trying to gain anything out of it. But it's always open. I've had several people find me there and reach out to me. I don't expect people to, but if you ever have been interested in asking me something, or if you had a video idea or a topic you want me to talk about, feel free to reach out to me. I've had people reach out to me and argue with me or disagree with how I've done stuff, and I'm going to allow you to have that conversation with me. I appreciate you offering to help. Hopefully I figured it out. I finally I've had a camera, and my pre-recorded videos are done on my camera. But I've been moving where I film. How many times now? This is the third time I've moved where I film at. Hopefully this is the last place I'm going to be in. So as far as like being able to iron out like my audio issues and all of that, it's kind of been pointless for me to try, or at least this is my opinion. It's kind of been pointless for me to try and figure out the problem because I knew I was going to move where my final filming area is, which I probably won't show the whole room, but I did film my makeup collection. Geez, I'm gonna have to get off here soon. I'm getting super tired and like I can't keep my train of thought. I had filmed my makeup collection video and then I lost half of it somehow. So I'm going to be refilming that this weekend and getting that uploaded for you. So you guys will see kind of my setup and part of where I'm at. And then I also I'm doing my nails this weekend. So I will have another nail video for those of you who want a nail video. And I probably will go live probably Sunday. I'm not sure what time yet. Your 7-year-old grandson knows more than you do. There's some kids out there who they know their stuff. It's like they're born knowing how to work some of this stuff. And I'm just like, how? Teach me. Yeah, well, I appreciate that. You guys have been on with me for the ride of figuring out how to get everything situated. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. So today, I actually use just one palette. Usually I use multiple palettes or I cheat and I use an Urban Decay eyeliner that's super glittery to get the glitter. But today I used a palette I haven't used in a while. And it's probably because I cleaned out all my drawers whenever I was filming my video. I made sure it wasn't super messy so I could go through everything. But I used the Mercury Retrograde by Huda. And I am aware she has some problematic tendencies. You guys will probably see my camera and stuff, but here, let me do it this way. That is the palette. This is the shade I have on my eyelids. And then I put this shade, which looks brown, and it's not super brown, as you can tell. It's more of a purple. That's the only issue I have with this palette from Huda is these shades do not translate onto your eye, at least my skin tone. These don't translate the way that they look in the pan. It's pretty. I've always been able to get a pretty good look out of it. But if you are interested in this palette, I would suggest swatching it before you purchase it because it's not a cheap palette and they don't translate well. So if the shimmers do, but I'll give you guys a see. Can you see that? I'm obviously swatching is not my forte. Let me try and do it somewhere else. Put it down. So that is that shade. It comes off way more purple than brown, and it looks brown in the pan. So just keep that in mind. But this is the palette I used today. Yeah, I really like Huda's products. The only issue I have is her foundation. I bought her foundation I bought one of them last year, and I bought one. I must have bought. I haven't bought any makeup pretty much since I moved. So I must have purchased both of these last year. But this is turning into a makeup talk. She's into the stream now. Is it because I'm talking about makeup? So my skin tone, which I never feel like even rewatching my videos, you can really see my skin. And I feel like this happens more often than people realize. I am extremely pale. Like I'm quite pale. Not like the most pale shade there is, but like this is almost the perfect shade for me. I like matte foundations because I have super normal skin. Occasionally it'll pull dry, but yeah, Mike, I know you're a girl. I meant for Zales. I don't think he cares about this stuff. I bought her foundation because I heard through the reviews that it was a matte foundation. And I was like, oh, I love matte foundations. My two favorite foundations, which I think I've talked about before, are the Estee Lauder Double Wear, the matte one, and the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter that's matte. These are my go-to foundations. They're the perfect shade for my skin, which these glasses are, the bottles are frosted. That's why it looks darker. But you guys have seen me without makeup on. Underneath my foundation, my skin looks very pink, but I'm actually a very neutral skin tone, undertone. So long story short, I ended up with two because this was the second to lightest shade, because the lightest shade on her website looked like it was ghostly white, and it is ghostly white, but this is way too orange for me, so I have to conjure up some kind of concoction to even get this to look somewhat normal, or else I'm doing a lot of extra work with concealer, which I really don't wear a lot of concealer, or most days I don't wear any concealer. So if I end up with my foundation looking darker, I end up using concealer to lighten my skin tone, so it doesn't look like I have fake tan on, because I don't fake tan. I can't. I'm not talented enough for that. I don't have the patience for that. I get super bored and irritated doing my nails for an hour. Which I think when I do my nails, I think I'm going to chop it up more than I did last time. Last time was also because I ran into a technical issue. But I'm going to try and maybe do something like some kind of design, or use some rhinestones, because I have some rhinestones. I just don't want to go too pretty girly whenever Halloween's right around the corner, because sometimes the nails will, you guys have seen, they'll last anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. So I don't want to go into Halloween with like rhinestoned fingernails. So we'll see what comes of it. We'll see in that video. I'm probably going to do that tomorrow. La, 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 la. You like makeup talk? Yeah, I could talk makeup all day. I really could. I'm trying to incorporate a little bit more makeup stuff into my content. I'm not super confident, and I'm confident in my talking of makeup and the products that I like. I'm not 100% confident in like being a tutorial, because my skills aren't the greatest in my opinion. So I'm easing into that. I much prefer to get ready live, because then you guys can see what I'm doing rather than me feeling like I need to talk about it. You're translucent, the lightest color always. Yeah, some brands I do have to get the lightest color. I think in that Fenty, if not the lightest, I'm like the second to lightest. I don't have a green thumb, Amber, so my nails don't get wrecked by my plants and garden. I wish I did. It would be nice if I could garden, but I have a tendency to kill everything. Your fiance did some flowers encapsulated in clear polygel. Well, she's way more talented than I am then. If she doesn't have a YouTube channel, tell her to get a YouTube channel. Tell her to start one for her nails. It's actually a community that there's not a whole lot. I mean, if you Google it, this is going to sound weird. If you YouTube nails, a lot of channels pop up, but there are only a handful of them that are like super popular. But my nail video did very well, and fairly well for me anyways. And I'm not a channel that does that regularly. So if she can do that, she's pretty talented. I can't do stuff like that, and people watch my video. So maybe that's something to chat with her about. And I can't work with polygel that much. It's too sticky. I don't like how sticky that is. Yeah, I know, right, Amber? Take you makeup shopping in a vlog. Okay. The only thing that weirds me out about that, and this might just be me being paranoid, is like, I don't know if I'm okay with filming in public. It seems a little weird to me. I know people do it and it's not a big thing, especially if I did. Where I would go is a large city, so it's common there. I've seen people vlogging up and down the streets and stuff. But if I did that, I think I would reveal where I live, and I'm not 100% comfortable with that. Jen, I was trying to figure out what P dot pants were. Ants were. Yeah, it took me a second. I read it a couple of times. Yeah, doing nails is relatively hard. It took me a year to get to the ability I'm at now, and I still mess up constantly. Your plants have taken over your porch. Amber, I don't know if it was you or somebody else I've suggested, if you just like painting your fingernails and it's like a dry down issue, try getting gel polish if you haven't, and get the kind where you actually need a UV light, because that will dry it. In the time it's under the lamp, it'll be dry. Well, I'm being serious. I can't do that. I can't encapsulate I can't hardly use polygel to begin with. I have to use the actual like plastic dual forms. She'll know what I'm talking about. I would prefer to use the ones that the tapey ones. I just can't get those to stick, so I can't actually like form a nail. So she must have some crazy skills. I don't have that ability. I use the cheap, well, it's not even cheap, but I use the cheating way by getting jelly tips. If she creates a channel, Zales, you'll have to make sure you let us know so we can all go subscribe and watch her videos. Yeah, and I don't know if it would come off as paranoia. I think it's just trying to be protective of myself. Della, if you think I did good, if you haven't watched some of these other ladies who do nail videos on here and do like the encapsulations and the crazy stuff, watch one of their videos. It is mind blowing. And some of their, gosh, who was it? I can't remember who it was. One of the nail channels that I'm subscribed to did, she hand painted a whole theme on her nails, and it was so soothing to watch. But I was just shocked that she had that, like, that talent. Obviously I know it exists, but that I was watching it in front of me, I was like, man, I wish I had that kind of talent and creativity, because I don't. And goes to random places. I'm slightly limited in that degree, just with work and stuff. I can't go to just random places. Kitty, I have had this conversation before. I don't mind people talking about politics, but I do not feel educated enough and am aware enough to confidently talk about politics on my channel. Yeah, so when they encapsulate it, they put like a layer down, and then they will put whatever they're encapsulating and then have a layer over it, so it's inside two layers, like sandwiched. Can she do, this is just real, I'm just curious now, can she do the ones where it's like aquarium like almost? You should totally help her set it up. That would be awesome. She cuts hair too. Is she a cosmetologist, like, legitimately? Does she do that for work, or is she just like this? Is she that talented in all this stuff? Because I wish I had those kind of talents in my free time to do all of these things. Yeah, Jen, I agree. Like, I don't mind you guys knowing the state I live in. I've told you guys what state I live in numerous times, but um, if I gave any inclination to towns around me or what's close to me, even within a few hours drive, it wouldn't be, it's not rocket science to kind of pinpoint where I'm at. We're pretty chilled here, Zales. Like, I know a lot of YouTubers try and portray that to people coming in into their audience and stuff like that. Literally everybody here is extremely friendly and welcoming. We've had people come into the chat um, who isn't interested in any other content other than my open discussion content. And he said the same thing. I don't know if like this, it's uncommon for people to feel welcomed on a YouTube channel. I feel like the channels I try to associate with typically have that aspect to them. We try to always be respectful and just open-minded. Yeah, there are a lot of weirdos. Not that I think I have any weirdos or I'm to that point to get weirdos. Um, I just live in a very easily distinguished area if I told you things that were close by. Okay, so she was taught and she inherited it by a family member. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you don't have, depending on your state. I know some states have like laws and stuff where you have to be licensed to do things, but if she's super talented, I would tell her to start doing that stuff on YouTube, not only doing her own nails, but doing somebody's nails for free with the intention of loading it online and getting the potential monetary gain from that if she became monetized, as well as cutting hair. I mean, I only know of Brad Mondo as like the only hair dude on YouTube. Are there any other really like popular hairdressers on YouTube? Not that I know of. I'm also not into hair that much. Which if she's hearing, she'll probably be like, really? I don't, my hair's either, it's most of the time it's up in a bun on the top of my head because if it's down, I play with it, and I don't want to be like Katie Joy constantly playing with my hair, but it bothers me when it's down. So I typically live with my hair on my head. Yeah, the guy trying to learn English was a little bit different. I wasn't necessarily referring to him, but that was a different one too. But yeah, we had a gentleman come into one of my open chat discussions. I don't even remember what we were talking about that day. No, it wasn't an open chat. I think I was just talking about Katie Joy and the Sophie case. And he didn't know English, and his way of learning English was through our chat and me speaking and him reading the captions. Yeah, side hustles can be really lucrative. You can't have your hair in your face. And it's not even really having the hair in my face. Like you can tell I don't have thick hair. My hair is relatively thin. So, and it's super fine. So if I have my hair down, if it goes a certain way, it looks like super ratty to me, and I don't like that. So I preferred, and it makes me hot. That's really a lot of why I have it up, because my neck gets hot, or it like gets in my shirt and then I start itching. I'm sure anybody who's had long hair has dealt with those issues. And for me, it's just something I'd really rather not deal with, so I just throw it up in a bun. Aw, how do you have 7 coyotes that are 6 months old? Did you rescue them, or do you work for a rescue? Yeah, I have had some interesting people, and surprisingly, usually it's around the 2 hour mark that some different people come in, or I get the spammy trolls. My hair's not that long. This is about as long as I can get my hair before it looks really, really rough and wiry. Even though my hair's not wiry, it'll look like I have 3 strands of hair. Like this will collect in one bit, and then this collects, and then it looks like I am practically bald. So I probably am gonna get it cut here soon, or at least get it trimmed. Yeah, you remember the guy who was trying to learn English? Yeah. Are you weird? I don't think you're weird, Mike. Why would you? It's getting to be that time, guys. I'm starting to yawn. I need to eat dinner. I did not talk about the Sophie stuff and Katie Joy. So that will probably be a part of my discussion in my live on Sunday. I don't know when I'm going to go live on Sunday. I don't think tomorrow will work. I don't know. I have to check with my husband to see what day will work. I will try to post it in my community tab for you guys. And if I can't pick a time or a time frame, I'll leave it in a poll for you guys, and you guys can pick what time I pop on. It's just weird. I'm on a weird time. Mountain time is so different. I'm like 2 hours different from almost everybody. Yeah, I need to watch the Dad Challenge podcast stuff on that episode so we can talk about that. And then I don't know if I'm going to want to talk about the situation that was talked about in the beginning due to recent events. But I will look into it and see if it's something I'm comfortable with talking about. If I'm not comfortable talking about it, I will tell you guys. I will be comfortable in some time. I'm just trying to not continue or allow this to perpetuate longer than it needs to. Oh, that's sad. Well, I'm glad you take care of the wildlife that you come across. That's awesome. It's one thing. If I didn't go into helping people, I would have gone into helping animals. I had started the veterinary tech program at a school, and ultimately I stopped going to school, but I had a very strong interest at one point in time to be a vet tech. I could never go to school long enough to be an actual veterinarian, just like I didn't go to school long enough to become a master's, which is crazy because I'm a year away from getting my master's. I completed my bachelor's so quickly and did so well that I qualified for an accelerated program to get my master's in a year. I've thought about going back, but I really, when I say I'm really not a fan of school, I am not a fan of school. It takes a lot out of me to do schoolwork. Hey, Diamond. Oh, for sure. Definitely. You need to, with what he said, I would 100% watch your channel and watch you do your nails. It is, I find inspiration from watching channels like that. I am not nowhere near the talent it seems that you have. I can't encapsulate. Polygel is a pain in the rear end for me. I use the jelly tips from eNail Couture. Those are the ones I'm using right now. I also have the Kira Sky ones. But that goes to show I cheat and people want to see my nail videos. So I'm sure if you have any kind of talent, people would love to watch your videos. And there really is, there's a space for it, because you can, like I said, you can put it in the search bar and a lot of videos pop up, but you will see soon there's only like 5 ladies who are constantly recommended. And I will tell you the 2 that I watch and I enjoy the most, Long Hair Pretty Nails and Emily Susanna. If I'm recalling correctly, neither one of them are licensed or professionals. And they have like good followings. And I'm trying to think if I've ever seen them encapsulate. I think they both have encapsulated before, but there's some channels that have a good bit of following that don't do stuff to that extreme. So definitely. It seems that your husband has the equipment for YouTube anyways. So all it would be is you sitting down and just filming yourself do it. If you're going to do it anyways, why not film it, you know? It's not going to hurt to take the jab. Yeah, see, Amber would watch too. So when you finally film that video, either you or Zales let us know, and we will happily come over and support you. A white marble set. I like white marble. You like the matte. I'm not a fan of matte finish. I don't think it looks right on my. It could have been the color I used against my skin tone. I didn't like the way it looked. I like the way it looks aesthetically in pictures, and I don't think anybody I work with ever has done matte nails for me to see like if it was maybe just a me thing and I like them, or if I just don't like the finish. The gears are turning. Oh, so you watch Long Hair and Pretty Nails. Yeah, her channel's great. So I definitely, yeah, just keep us updated, Diamond. We'll all flock over and subscribe and watch, and maybe you can provide me some inspiration, because I typically just do a solid color. That's how fun I am. I also run out of the patience, and I'm not that skilled in it. So I do what I can to the best of my ability and my my limits of my patience. Yeah, you can send me a picture. You can I have Instagram and Twitter. My handle there is Manda Pants Does Life. Just like, well, it's not my YouTube name anymore, but if you want to DM me a picture, or if you've posted it and you just want to like tag me in the comment so I can see it, that'd be cool. You had to get used to it. Maybe it's just a thing that you get used to then. All right, guys. Well, I am going to jet. I will post on my community tab either when I'm going to go live next. It's probably going to be Sunday in the time. If not the time, I'll give you guys the ability to poll, in whichever time frame gets the most votes is when I will go live. Keep an eye out for some videos this weekend. I am going to do my makeup collection video. I'm going to refilm that so you guys will actually know what products I have. I also have a get ready with me that I had filmed that I might load. And then I'm going to do my nail video this weekend. My Instagram, I believe, is Manda Pants Does Life. It might just be Manda Pants. I'm not good at this YouTube stuff, obviously. You'll probably do better than I will. How do you know your name? Yeah, it's Manda Pants Does Life. And I have, in between each word is an underscore if you struggle with finding it. But thanks, Sales. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys coming in and chatting with us and making the night easy. If you guys are interested in any of those videos coming up, just keep an eye out for them. And keep an eye out for the community tab for the next video or next live. No matter what it ends up being, whether it's a get ready with me or just me sitting down chatting with you guys, I'm going to talk about the Sophie updates because I have maintained talking about that case. And I want to kind of discuss everything that's come to the tipping point it has this week or a week and a half. So I appreciate that, Diamond. You rock. And I'm going to follow and make sure I check and see when you put your videos out. I'm going to encourage you to do that. And I just knocked something over behind me. So, all right, guys. Well, I will see you in a couple of days. I hope you have a good rest of your Friday evening. It's been a good one. Bye, guys.